Page 7, Bridal Chorus. More on dotted rhythms. Alright. This is 4/4 time. Doesn't matter. A dotted rhythm's a dotted rhythm. In the first measure. And they put the counting in for you in the red numbers. That's kind of nice, I guess. But 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. That's legitimate. You can do it that way, or you can put an and in between every number, if that helps you. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and it's a lot more work to do that, but you can do it that way too. Either way you want to do it is fine, just as long as you get the dotted rhythm correct. Now, a trick that I have used forever, I still use it sometimes, is these publishers, most of them, are really good about lining the notes up vertically that play together. It's not always exactly there, but most of the time you're going to find the notes that play together lined up perfectly. So at the beginning you have the two notes in the left hand and the C in the right hand. All of those, they're all played together and they're all lining up. Then you get over to the third beat of the measure when you play an F in the right hand. You look directly down and you have that D in the left hand. They're played together. Okay, it comes in handy in trying to figure out the rhythm sometimes, because in this case the left hand is just all quarter notes you can rely on. It's just straight across, nothing fancy going on. And that helps you to keep the beat going. So if you can get the right hand synced up right with the left hand, look at the first couple measures. That eighth note in the first measure comes in between two notes in the left hand. So you got here. So you can tell by lining up the notes there who's coming when. And that helps. Now, the preferred method, of course, is to count this out so you know exactly what it is, because what do you do if the other hand isn't playing and it's by itself? You've got to be able to count it out. But lining these up vertically like this is a great way to double check, are you correct? So these are together, together, together. So as long as I get the notes that are together, I'll try and get the other notes in between. Just a little crutch, sort of, that will help some people for a while. Doesn't work every time, but it works most of the time. Right hand, we got through the rhythm. Again, I'm going to try and get you to use different fingers on repeated notes most of the time. Okay, here at the beginning, they're doing a 1 on the C and then a 3 on those Fs. I would recommend you do a 3-2-3. 3, just so you're not using the same finger. On the second line, first measure, they have the fifth finger on the 2 B flats. I recommend you do a 4-5 on those. Third line down, same as the first line. Fourth line down, look at the fingering in the right hand. I'm not going to change anything, I'm just going to point it out. Thumb on the C, 2 on the F, fourth finger on the A, not the third, the fourth. These 4 notes is an F chord in second inversion. It's an F chord, we just have the C on the bottom. See, I could go here. It's an extended fingering, and we use the fourth finger on the A for this, not the third. So when you run it into it in music like this, you finger it the same way. And then in the last measure, or the last 2 measures, they're showing fourth finger, and that's fine. Works out great. That's what I recommend. The left hand just has steady quarter notes for the most part, so you got to stay right with the beat. When we play it together, it means staying with me or staying with the metronome, assuming I'm staying with a metronome, which doesn't happen all the time. Steady, 1, 2, 3, 4. Until you get the second line, third measure, you have a half note. 1, 2, and that is a B natural there, okay? 2. last line. The first two measures are fine. That's the same pattern you've had, but then in the last two measures. And then next to the last measure at the bottom, they're showing a 1, 2, 3, 5. Now normally I would say no, use the fourth finger instead of third. But in this case, because of the black note, the third finger does work better. If you try and play those four notes at the same time as a chord, fourth finger doesn't work there at all, because you got to get your hand up into the black note area to get the thumb on the B flat. And this stretch up here doesn't work very well at all. So in this case, I would go ahead and use third finger on that one. Okay. Phrasing wise, you can go ahead and phrase it the way they've got it, it's fine. Dynamic wise, now this is a proud processional. This is where a lot of pomp and circumstance and da-da, look at me, da-da, okay. So when you get down to the bottom, you see the crescendo to the fortissimo, the two Fs, and then the decrescendo back to an F. There's not a lot of difference between a forte and a fortissimo. That is a loud and a very loud. There's just a little bit of difference. So to help us bring this out, we're going to start the last line a little under forte. Going to come down to about a mezzo forte. That gives us more room to get loud. And then when we get soft again, we're going to go back down to a mezzo forte. A little softer, and then the last two measures are forte. So it's here. You've been loud the whole time, pretty much, right? Start with the last two measures of the third line. Come down, get louder. To experiment with that. That's what you want. Then you come back down. Now when you come down, you don't necessarily have to get any softer than a forte because you only have a couple notes. It just brings you back down to a nice loud where you were. But when you start that at the bottom, you can start a little under forte if you want to accentuate the crescendo. Because if you start loud and you get very loud, it's not as effective as if you start a little softer than that and then get loud. It makes a big difference. In other words, you're exaggerating it just a little bit for the musicality. 4/4 time, it's in F major, of course. It's got to be flats. I'll give us 4 counts. Let's play it together. 1, 2, ready, go.